You're tuned in to Pyrocryptic X News, daily crypto coverage on the networks that matter. XRP, XLM, XDC, and many others. Let's get into it.
Pyrocryptic News here with a focused briefing for XRP investors. Today's headline: XRP institutional holdings surge amidst growing IPO speculation. We'll be analyzing the latest crucial information. Our sources include a recent Ernst Young report on institutional digital asset trends, discussions around a potential Ripple IPO from Reddit, market analysis from Meditech Insights, financial strength data from TipRanks, and live price data from CoinMarketCap. The goal is a clear, professional overview of key developments relevant to anyone tracking XRP.
Okay, so starting with that institutional interest, the EY report from August 2024 is quite revealing. It found 20% of surveyed institutional investors are holding XRP. Now that's a pretty significant number, especially as the report notes when you factor in the ongoing SEC lawsuit. That's definitely been a barrier for some U.S. firms.
Right, it really underscores a level of conviction, doesn't it? These aren't small players. And the survey focused mainly on the U.S. and EMEA regions. Of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum still dominate institutional portfolios 98% and 78% respectively, according to EY.
Sure, they're the big two. But getting to 20% for XRP, given its specific context, is notable. And it fits into this broader positive sentiment. Over 90% of these institutions are optimistic about digital assets long-term, and more than 80% see them as key for diversification.
So XRP is clearly carving out its niche in these institutional strategies, and it seems Ripple's own efforts are helping drive this. Things like their payment solutions.
Absolutely. It's not just passive holding. Ripple's been very active, pushing forward with faster, cheaper cross-border payments, exploring CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and they're beta testing their stablecoin, RLUSD. They're testing it on both the XRP ledger and Ethereum, which broadens its potential reach. These utility-focused developments are likely making XRP more appealing to institutions looking beyond pure speculation.
And the international angle seems key here too. The partnerships mentioned, Bank of Colombia, Brazil, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, these suggest real-world traction outside the U.S., sort of building a foundation regardless of the SEC outcome.
Exactly. These international collaborations in South America, Europe, Asia, they demonstrate XRP's utility in practice, which resonates with that institutional demand for functional assets. And this ties directly into the market analysis, like the one from Meditech Insights back in December 2024.
Okay, tell us about that. What did Meditech see?
Well, they put the XRP market size at around USD 187.4 billion then. But the projection is what catches the eye. They forecasted growth to nearly USD 6.6 trillion by 2035. That's a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of about 38%.
Wow, 6.6 trillion. That's ambitious. What's driving such a bullish forecast?
Primarily the demand for better cross-border payments, faster, cheaper than traditional systems. That's Ripple's core pitch. Also, increasing adoption by financial institutions, the growth in remittances, and importantly, integration with DeFi or decentralized finance.
Right, DeFi. How does XRP fit in there? Its speed and low cost must be advantages.
They are. Meditech highlighted XRP's suitability for microtransactions, which is a big challenge for older systems. While it might not be the biggest DeFi platform natively, its efficiency makes it attractive for specific applications. And its role in bank settlements via RippleNet is still a core strength.
Makes sense. But there's competition, right? Other cryptos, traditional players like Swift.
Oh, definitely. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Stellar are competitors in the crypto space. And Swift, Visa, PayPal represent the traditional side. It's a crowded field. Meditech laid out some scenarios too. A bull case with widespread adoption and good regulation could see XRP maybe in the $10, $15 range. A moderate case, $5, $10, and a bear case, perhaps $1, $4.
Interesting price points. Now, shifting gears slightly, let's talk about that Ripple IPO speculation. You mentioned Reddit discussions.
Yeah, April 2025 discussions showed a lot of optimism bubbling up, partly tied to hopes the SEC case might wrap up, maybe a more crypto-friendly administration helping things along. And you saw this reflected in private share prices.
How so? What were the numbers being thrown around?
Reports mentioned private shares on equities in going for mid-$40. That implies something like an $8 billion valuation for Ripple, which was apparently double what it was just a few months prior. Preferred shares were even higher, pointing towards maybe $12 billion.
That's a significant jump from private investors. Ripple's official valuation after a buyback in January was cited around $11 billion, wasn't it?
It was, but the feeling seems to be, with recent market moves and maybe the lawsuit resolution getting closer, the open market might value it higher. Some people were even comparing Ripple to MicroStrategy because of its huge XRP holdings.
The MicroStrategy comparison is interesting. They hold a lot of Bitcoin, which props up their valuation. Ripple holds what, maybe 40 billion XRP currently?
Roughly, yeah. Which at current prices is a very large sum, maybe around $80 billion on paper.
But some argue that's not a straightforward comparison, right? Like liquidating that much XRP without crashing the price would be tricky.
Exactly. It's not the same as holding Bitcoin necessarily. More conservative comparisons were also made, like looking at Visa's IPO back in '08, which was around $18 billion. And some sellers on Linko were reportedly asking for prices, implying a $20 billion valuation. So there's a range of expectations.
Ultimately, a high valuation seems to depend on XRP actually being widely used for payments, not just the value of Ripple's holdings.
That's the core argument, yes. The potential profit from facilitating global payments. Which brings us to Ripple's own financial muscle.
Right. The TipRanks report from April 2025, they talked about a $25 billion